we are discussing questions and answers for my AZ-104 Microsoft Azure Administrator Certification. The question is, you need to resolve the licensing issue before you attempt to assign the license again. What should you do? Option A, from the groups blade, invite the user accounts to a new group. Option B, from the profile blade, modify the usage location. Option C, from the directory role blade, modify the directory role. The correct answer is option B. This is the next question. You are evaluating the name resolution for the virtual machines after the planned implementation of the Azure networking infrastructure. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Please have a view on these statements. Now the answer column. We find that the first and the second statement are true while the third statement is false. The next question. You are evaluating the connectivity between the virtual machines after the planned implementation of the Azure networking infrastructure. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Please have a view on these three statements, for which you have to select that these are right or wrong. This is the answer column. We find that all three statements hold true for the given question. Have a careful view on them. Moving to the next question. You need to meet the user requirement for admin 1. What should you do? Option A, from the subscriptions blade, select the subscription and then modify the properties. Option B, from the subscription blade, select the subscription and then modify the access control settings. Option C, from the Azure Active Directory blade, modify the properties. Option D, from the Azure Active Directory blade, modify the groups. The correct answer is option A. Moving to the next question. You need to move the blueprint files to Azure. What should you do? Option A, generate a shared access signature, map a drive and then copy the files by using File Explorer. Option B, use the Azure Import Export service. Option C, generate an access key, map a drive and then copy the files by using File Explorer. Option D, use Azure Storage Explorer to copy the files. The correct answer is option D. The next question. You need to implement the backup solution for app 1. After the application is moved, what should you create first? Option A, a recovery plan. Option B, an Azure backup server. Option C, a backup policy. Option D, a recovery services vault. The correct answer is option D. The next question. You need to recommend a solution for app 1. The solution must meet the technical requirements. What should you include in the recommendation? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Each correct statement is worth 1 point. Have a view on this table. Number of virtual networks and number of subnets. This is the solution for the above discussed question. The next question. You need to configure the device settings to meet the technical requirements and the user requirements. Which two settings should you modify? To answer, select the appropriate setting in the answer area. Have a view on this table. Now this is the answer area for this question. Have a careful view on these. Moving to the next question. You need to recommend and identify solution that meets the technical requirements. What should you recommend? Option A, a federated single on and Active Directory federation services. Option B, password hash synchronization and single sign on. Option C, cloud only user accounts. Option D, pass through authentication and single sign on. The correct answer is option A. Moving to the next question. You are planning the move of App 1 to Azure. You create a network security group. You need to recommend a solution to provide users with access to App 1. What should you recommend? Option A, create an outgoing security rule for port 443 from the internet. Associate the NSG to all the subnets. Option B, create an incoming security rule for port 443 from the internet. Associate the NSG to all subnets. Option C, create an incoming service rule for port 443 from the internet. Associate the NSG to the subnets that contains the web servers. Option D, create an outgoing service security rule for port 443 from the internet. Associate the NSG to the subnet that contains the web servers. The correct answer is option C. The next question. You need to identify the storage requirements for Contoso. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true, otherwise select no. Have a view on the statements. Contoso requires a storage account that supports blob storage. Second, Contoso requires a storage account that supports Azure table storage. And the third, Contoso requires a storage account that supports Azure file storage. Now this is the answer section for this question. We see that the first statement is correct, the second and the third are wrong. This is the next question. You need to ensure that you can grant group 4 Azure RBAC read-only permissions to all the Azure file shares. What should you do? Option A, on storage 1 and storage 4, change the account kind type to storage V2. Option B, recreate storage 2 and set a hierarchical namespace to enabled. Option C, on storage 2, enable identity based access for the file shares. Option D, create a shared access signature for storage 1, storage 2 and storage 4. The correct answer is option C. The next question. You need to create container 1 and share 1. Which storage account should you use for each resource? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Each correct selection is worth 1 point. Now have a view on the container 1 area. This is the table for share 1. Moving to the answer part. This. From the container 1 table, storage 2 and 3 only matches with the option storage 2 only of the share 1 table. The next question. You need to create storage 5. The solution must support the planned changes. Which type of storage account should you use and which account should you configure as the destination storage account? To answer, select the option in the answer area. Have a look on the table of account kind and the table of destination. Now this is the correct answer. You need to ensure that user 1 can create initiative definitions and user 4 can assign initiatives to RG2. The solution must meet the technical requirements. Which role should you assign to each user? To answer, select the appropriate option in the answer area. Now have a look on the table of user 1 and user 4. Now this is the correct answer. Option this, user policy contributor for sub 1 from the user 1 table matches with the option resource policy contributor for RG2 from the user 4 table. If you are looking for any particular certification which is currently not available on our channel, please mention that in your comment. Our team will value those. Thank you.